Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Our new VA secretary is in place. That is Doug Collins. So Doug Collins is now officially the VA secretary. That is as of February 4th, 2025. And on the next day, which was February 5th, 2025, Doug Collins shares his message to veterans and VA employees. And I'm going to go through that here with you so we can shed a little light on maybe the direction and kind of see the overall, I guess, vibe of what's going to be happening with the VA. Before we jump into it, I want to throw on a special thank you to Paul Lunks 8383. Paul, thank you so much for the super comment, super chat. I truly appreciate your support. And with that, let's jump into this. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I truly appreciate it. Every thumbs up and every minute watched helps to push this information out there. So guess what? One, we're aware of what's going on. And two, it also shows others that we are aware of what is going on. All right. So I like to go through this type of stuff specifically because it's going to give us some tidbits on the overall commitment that we're going to receive from the VA, and it gives us something to maybe start holding folks accountable to in one way or another. So with that, if you want to support the channel in other ways, consider being a member. You can do so by going to the home page. You'll see the highlighted members and a join button. Thank you so much to all you members. I truly appreciate your support. It means the world to me. Thank you. All right, so Secretary Collins' message to veterans and VA employees came out February 5th, and let's go through it. All right. This is from Doug Collins. It is my life's honor to serve America's veterans as Secretary of Veterans Affairs. And I thank President Donald Trump as well as the U.S. Senate for their confidence in me. America is the greatest nation on earth precisely because of the veterans willing to step forward and defend our freedom. I've witnessed this firsthand throughout my 2 decades in the military, as I've served with some of the finest men and women our nation has to offer. In addition to being a Navy veteran, I am an Air Force Reserve colonel and chaplain. During my time in the military, I've learned that leadership is about listening, serving, motivating, and setting a good example for those around you. That is my approach, or that is the approach I will bring to the Department of Veterans Affairs. When President Trump offered me this job, he gave me simple instructions. Take great care of America's veterans. Here is how we're going to accomplish the task the President has set out for us. And he has listed here some bullet points. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6. 6 bullet points. And this is really where I would say the rubber meets the road, right? These bullet points are going to allow us to have some sort of a barometer on kind of, well, where we're going. And as we're going there, are we staying in that specific lane for each one of these bullet points, or are we drifting off? And if we start to drift, well, then I say we call people out, right? We have to reach out to the VA secretary. We have to reach out to the congressional Veterans Affairs committees, both on the House and the Senate side, and let them know, hey, look, there's 6 bullet points. This was the guideline. What's happening? Why have we fallen off of this? I think is kind of an important aspect. Now, let's jump into these bullet points. Number 1, it says, well, bullet points aren't numbered. Anyway, the first bullet point, you get it. We're going to deliver timely access to care and benefits for every eligible veteran, family member, caregiver, and survivor. Now, in that is a very important thing that I think a lot of people don't really realize. And the one thing I will say is that I believe most of us understand that there's strength in numbers, right? We are more apt to get the things we need if we have a strong turnout or a high number of affected or impacted individuals that are loud enough. So when we talk about that, we in the veteran world, and even on as far as your elected officials and everybody else is concerned, a lot of people hone in on the veteran number, okay? the veteran number, we'll just loosely say it's 18 million veterans. It's probably shy of that now, just through death, really. But let's call it 18 million. So if the veteran count is 18 million, and that's a decent number, I guess, but it's also declining, and everybody knows this. So how strong is it? Now, let's take into consideration here that, well, what if they take the veteran number, but instead of veteran number, what if they take the disabled veteran number, right? Disabled veterans are impacted by X. Well, what's disabled veterans? Well, it's less than 7 million, so we're 6 point something million disabled veterans. So that's getting pretty weak as far as the number count is concerned. Now back to this bullet point where it says eligible veteran, family member, caregiver, and survivor. Good point. The VA, service all of those people. So that is the number we should be talking about. And what's that number when you consider veterans, the family members, spouse, dependent children who qualify for different benefits, caregivers, survivors? We're probably talking 40-ish million, right? In the 40s, most likely. That is a substantial number. And that is the number that we need to reference as we continue to talk about the things that we need as the veteran sphere, right? It's a bigger number, more done, bigger numbers. We need to look for ways to increase our, we'll call it influence, if you will. And with a decreasing veteran population, it's a very smart move to include in family members, caregivers, and survivors. All right, so next bullet point. We're going to put veterans at the center of everything VA does, focusing relentlessly on customer service and convenience. That is something that I have talked about for a while. Imagine for a moment if the VA actually thought of itself as only one of multiple options for a customer who is the veteran, right? If you operate in that way, you're going to operate like a business. If you're operating like a business, you want to create a stellar environment and be there for your customer better than anybody else. And then you're going to get repeat customers. If you are creating a world-class environment and a world-class customer experience, well, we're going to keep coming back. We're not going to try to go the other routes, such as community care. All right, so I love that bullet point. That's a great one. Next one. We're going to challenge the status quo in order to find new and better ways of helping VA beneficiaries. Good. Next bullet point. We're going to celebrate the vast majority of VA employees who do a great job every day and hold employees accountable when they fall short of the mission. Outstanding. And there's two really important things there, right? One, it's very hard to eliminate non-stellar employees. It's hard to phrase it. So it's hard to eliminate those positions due to unions and all that stuff, all the rules and regulations. It's very difficult. I believe that there is some new legislation in that is going to streamline that a little bit depending on the severity of the situation, to where you can bypass some of the performance improvement plans and so forth, depending on the severity, again, of the employee's actions. And as a consequence, when you're dealing with bad employees, which they're everywhere, right, then nobody's prone to that, and it's not necessarily the VA's fault, but when your focus is heavily on the bad employees, you tend to neglect your great employees, which isn't really good, because they're doing their job. They're coming in, they're getting it done, they're stepping up, they're going above and beyond, and they're getting ignored because they're so good, nobody needs to talk to them. But really, those should be the people we're talking to and thanking them and giving them the pat on the back and so forth. So I'm glad that they mentioned that they are going to celebrate the vast majority of VA employees who do a great job. And I think that I can't agree more with that. All right, two more bullet points here. We're going to provide veterans with the healthcare choices they have earned while maintaining and improving VA's direct healthcare capabilities. So what is that saying? That's saying the opposite of we're closing everything down and you have to go to community care. what they're saying is that we, the VA, are going to provide veterans with healthcare choices they've earned, so community care or in-house. But remember the bullet point above, we want to create a world-class customer environment at VA, specifically VHA, and they are looking to maintain and improve the VA's direct health care capabilities. So that's good. Moving on, last bullet point. We're going to do a better job reaching veterans at risk of homelessness or suicide, especially those who have had no contact with VA. Good. That's a hard nut to crack, and they're probably going to leverage the nonprofits out there, I believe, that are already in place serving homeless or at risk of becoming homeless veterans through SSVF grant funding and so forth. And then also the HUD-VASH folks. If you are at risk of becoming homeless, or if you are homeless and you're not aware of those programs, if you're watching this, you have internet access. Search SSVF provider or nonprofit in your local county and see what shows up. And then also check with HUD-VASH. That's HUD-VASH. Essentially, it's Section 8 for veterans. So it's a subsidy on rental payments. All right. To wrap this up, there's a little paragraph, and then we will finish it out. It says here, again, this is from Doug Collins, the VA Secretary. My commitment to fellow service members and veterans will serve as my compass for the way ahead. And I am honored to be working with the men and women of VA to accomplish our noble and vital mission. Together, we will strengthen VA so it works better for America's heroes. Let's get to work. All right, with that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you so very much. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.